begin the Lord's Prayer. We'll go from there. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. All right, we got an exciting show for today. I wanted to reflect back, Thierry. I was just thinking before the show started, because I've been so deep in testing Drunith and Jackal, just how incredibly valuable it was last week. You bursting all the way up to number 13 in the world with a terrific build of the Drunith deck. You were really the one who showed us for the first time what can happen with 4 Drunith, which is great. It really gets into one of David Mills's rules of magic. It's very important. And I wanted to teach these lessons naturally as they come along. I did say that we're going to start soon kind of recreating the content for Magic Secrets a bit at a time. But for now, one of the concepts that David has is that whenever there's a card that really stretches the boundaries and changes things in the game, you really want to apportion a lot of your R&D budget, a lot of your mental budget, right? Because David's always very careful. He's always thinking about, what's our alternate use? What else could we be doing? What else could we be testing? How can we really make our testing really effective? Of course, we have this terrific environment with the Magic Secrets show. We're really kind of bubbling up the whole show kind of by just having a great time ourselves in a structured, organized way, the way that David would do it, by and large. There may be some optimizations. I just met with David about it yesterday. But anyways, so yeah, one of the things you want to do is you really want to pounce on certain cards and really recognize when a card is printed that's just entirely unlike other cards before it, and just stop and take the time to fully understand that card. We did this with Squandered Resources, with a Cadaverous Bloomgrain deck that delivered me both the Pro Tour Championship in Paris and helped get me to second place in the U.S. Nationals on ESPN, no less, for my third World Championship. So it did a lot for me, understanding that one card and understanding what it can be done. The fact that people call it the Paris Mulligan rule, which is basically the original version of the current Mulligan rule, because the old Mulligan rule was if you had all land or no land, then you reshuffled and drew a whole 7 new cards. That was the only rule. It was very limited. So they came up with a new rule where you could throw your hand back and draw 6. And David realized it wasn't the first return, it was the second, because David had already used it very effectively at Pro Tour Los Angeles, a few months before Pro Tour Paris. But it was at Pro Tour Paris when David came up with the idea that we would mulligan if we didn't have either a Squandered Resources or a card that was highly likely to get it, either Vampiric Tutor, which could directly get it, or Impulse, that would let you look at the top 4 cards of your library. At that point, you're very, very likely either to get a Squander or a Tutor, or at least another Impulse, right? Was his thinking. And so it was radical. Like literally in the semifinals, I was mulliganing hands, or actually even in the top 8, I was mulliganing hands, and the audience, even though they were partitioned away from me, they were so loud, they're gasped, like, they couldn't believe that I was mulliganing certain hands. And Bryn's really enjoying this. Bryn's got a lot of science for us today, so it's going to be we're going to have some great stuff from Bryn today. But because Bryn really learned a lot about that Paris mulligan rule that David, I kind of coached you up on that, right, with the Shawshank deck. Now, when we have a brand new card that breaks the boundaries of what can be done before Magic, before I was mentioning Squandered Resources, it was so important but it basically, you know, we figured it out to redefine the entire mulligan rule around it. That's the kind of level you really want to stop and think, what can this card do? Drunith slash Jackal, it's Jackal in real life, Drunith in the game. We need to come up with a great nickname for it. We've got at least Zebu today, which we'll be able to feature. But we really want to go deep into understanding it. It's a really fortunate opportunity at that point where, oh, let me see. Oh yeah, it is recording and everything, great. So I've got the craziest decks here, but this one's my favorite. And it's in a way, it's one of my favorite decks in a long time. I really like this deck that I'm about to show you. Here. It's such a weird deck. And you'd almost never think that you could come up with a deck like this. But it's so unusual, and it really does a good job of explaining when it's very, very useful to just stop everything and not, it's weak-minded and incorrect. It's it's a law of implication lesson to be extremely curious about certain anomalies in life. David was extremely curious, and still is to this day, about Google SEO and search. And so because of that, we've constantly maintained a wide berth of focus, and therefore, if you look at my Rolodex, one out of every very few people in there, one out of every 5 or 6 people, you know, in my business Rolodex probably, has to do with SEO in some kind of major way, for example. And that's just because of years and years and years of us allocating tons of bandwidth to, you know, Google SEO and other types of search, like YouTube, and I have projects on, you know, all over the place. I mean, all over social media, all over the place. Things that I've done in the past, still doing, and so on. So I have a broad berth for it. With Drunith slash Jackal, it's Jackal in real life. And this is, you know, if you're watching this podcast, I assume by this card, I can't imagine it not going way over where it is right now. But you know, certainly, participants of this podcast should basically own all the foil, the foil extended art ones, at least, that exist. We should own all of them, I assume, unless any of them are at all realistic priced, for example. All the ones that are in the market or whatever, because they're all just so low pricing. It's just kind of negligent compared to what how it's not like at least like a $10 card or something. Okay, so what this card does is just never existed, where you can have such a crazy board on turn 3, even turn 2, of course. You know, you can certainly play in with an elf and have a terrific board on turn. At the end of turn 2, you can have Drunith plus, you know, some other great stuff, right? You have some other 2 more 1/1s basically of some sort, but it can be great ones. You know, it can really set you up. It can be two pop patch recruits. I mean, that's just absolutely vicious, right? Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to kill the Drunith? Well, fine. You're going to give 2 counters to the pop patch recruits. Yeah, I mean, it's probably what you need to do, but it's really, you're really going to pay for it, right? And now you're dealing with 2, 3 2s, and your opponent's going to tap and do something else. You know, that's what you do with your turn. Okay, so that's a nightmare scenario. But way worse is if, for example, the next turn we summon something absolutely batshit crazy like Seraphic Steed, and I'll get into what can happen with that. Pretty enamored with the Valkyrie and Giada as well, so I'll explain this deck and how it all works, along with several other decks. But I'm doing this by way of explaining. I mean, guys, I tested the craziest things. This is the deck that I tested with it. We looked over this together in the group, right? Where we've got Screaming Nemesis, and there were times when I was casting 2 Screaming Nemesis with Drunith, and it's fast, right? So this is one way of doing it. Is it the best way? I don't think it is, but it's it's interesting. I tested it now. And again, I wouldn't go down the rabbit hole this deep. Like, I don't go down the rabbit hole this deep on every single card and say, can I make a goblin deck? Okay. Are you guys surprised to see a goblin deck? It's pretty effective. I don't think it's the top deck, but if I was going to play a goblin deck, I can't imagine not playing faster. Some of your draws, you're just going to have Druid and an extra one and another 2/2 after that, and you're not going to be able to move it, and things just get out of hand in a way that no other card before it would have done that. So that's another example. Let's see, what other wacky decks? I built a black version of the same red deck that I showed you guys. Here's an elf version. These should be roids. These definitely shouldn't be these things. I just want to try to get this wrong. They should definitely be roids. But still, this is still a pretty good deck, just so you guys know. I don't think it's a top deck. I'm very interested in this card, by the way, guys. I'm going to be going much more deeper into destructible sin, much deeper into destructible sin, but I want to really focus on Druid for this show. So let's see. So that's a lot of focus into it. I did this one. Smitty, I did this for you. I don't know if it's that good. I tried a few games, potentially completely nightmarish, but who knows? Right. I mean, there was definitely some games where I just had warrior and biolashes in play on turn 3, and I just won very easily. So that's another way of doing it. A bunch of different ways to do it. Before I found Angels, this was my favorite. This is going to be very formidable when the new lands come out in January. When the new lands come out in January, this is going to be a very dangerous deck. Your typical rabbit-based bunny Bzka deck, and Druid, boy, do things get super crazy out of hand, and you have like much more mid and late game, and even early game than you expect. So that deck is going really well, but the mana was really tough, and it's weird to explain, and I'm gonna more spend the back half of the show talking about this deck, but by me talking about it in the front half, it'll help us think about it a little bit. You'll help notice that there's some crazy things that can happen. I had 8 3/3 Angels in play and was going to cast an Obroid the next turn in one instance because I copied my Seraphic Steed with Drunith, and then I played 2 Exalted. This is another card that I think is undercosted, by the way. Undervalued on the marketplace. I think it's going to bounce back pretty strongly, pretty powerful, pretty usable in a lot of combinations with a lot of other cards, which is kind of what you need right now. But anyways, this, man, some crazy things happen. The 2-drops in this deck, it doesn't look like it. They really look pretty innocuous, and it's crazy because there's so few actual Angels in the deck. There's actually only 16 actual Angels in the deck. Plus your 4 Steeds that can of course make Angels if you saddle them. But then you also have Drunith, and you're kind of protecting them with your Paw Patch, and this deck is explosive. It's really good. There's only the cards. This deck has a really high. I'll give you a hint. It has a very high concentration of cards that combo together very quickly and very well, very explosively. So we'll get to talking about that later in the show. But first I want to say, hey guys, what's going on? What's going on in the world of Druids and what I just said and so forth? Let's get some, who wants to talk about what I just said?
Oh, do you know you look like you're in the witness protection program with your lighting?
Oh, I do that. There's no easy way today for me to fix it.
The true secrets of magic. We cannot discuss who I am, but we will discuss
of the magic pearl. Again, yeah, you see the front of magicsecrets.com is the Area 51, branding and everything. So Smitty, do you have any reaction to what I just said?
No, it's well, I mean, yes, a couple things. It reminds me a little bit of when we were talking about ego drain a while back. Now that just came back up into my thought process working on the pixie deck. I don't know if it fits, but the pixie's a fairy, and it just turns it straight up into like a thought seize, whereas it looks like kind of a bad card mostly. Even on its own, it's pretty good. So just sort of that.
Is she? Oh wait, can you use ego drain with her?
Ego drain is standard legal. I just looked it up.
Oh yeah.
The Foundation starter box, I'm guessing, is another
That's
one.
good. Yeah, at least good for the sideboard. Good to remember. Good note, Smitty. Good note. And Smitty's right. We took a long time with ego drain to try to figure out what it is and what's going on with it, because it's a different type of card. Go ahead, Smitty.
As far as to playing the one mana black fairy, just to enable it a little better.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did a lot of deep down testing. And again, sometimes that's going to come out crazy, like with Angel Fire Ignition. We got enormous mileage out of Angel Fire Ignition. We got enormous mileage out of one casting cost poison creatures.
Played Angel Fire for a week or two before I saw anybody else play it.
Oh, right, yeah. We're of course
I probably played it for 2 weeks and saw none except my own.
Right, and so you've seen the rudiments of this with specifically with Drunith / Jackal. What are your initial thoughts of what you've seen so far, Smitty?
It's silly. What really rocked my mind was the positive aspect of casting a second Drunith, because I didn't realize you could do that, and it's so silly.
Yeah, so this is an important stacking
You
aspect.
lose the one you cast, but then you get a token, and it's just
Yeah, you get two more. So what'll happen is, like, let's say turn one. Yeah, I'll walk people through this. So let's say turn one you cast a Llanowar Elf, and turn two you cast Drunith and what a Valley of Might Call. Okay. Now if next turn you cast another Drunith, turn three, what's going to happen is you'll only get to keep one of the two non-tokens, but you get to keep the token, is basically what happens. So you get a second Drunith, is basically what happens. And so then, go ahead, Smitty.
It's also reset to one, so.
Right, it can either be, I think you can just choose which one you want. You can have one reset to one and one at three, or both at one. What I do want to know is what happens with other legends. I think other legends do the same thing. As long as they do, it's really wild.
Yeah, I tested that with.
What's that?
I tested that with Cecil, the knight dude in the black deck that you have, and
Yeah.
Legendary's copy, which is dope.
So wait, what happens? Do you get the token?
Yeah, if you put Cecil down, you keep the original non-token and also a token, which is crazy.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Okay, so we're gonna get into that. That's what I figured, because that's gonna make the Angel deck completely crazy with Giada. It's crazy with her. I mean, really crazy. Now every Angel's gonna be in stacks of tokens, and one of them comes in as a 3/3. I mean, that's really rude. Okay, so there's something that Smitty was saying, and then I got off on a tangent. Smitty, where were you at?
We were just talking about, digging deep, looking at completely understanding the cards. And it reminded me of when we talked a lot about ego drain, and also you mentioned Angel Fire.
Angel Fire. Think about all the different ways we tested Angel Fire. We tested with every way, shape, and form, and just got tons of mileage out of Angel Fire.
4-color dinos.
Yeah. Yeah, David was the one who put Angel Fire into we at some point had it with dinos and with the bats, with the lightning bats that take a card away. Okay, so
hey, Mike.
Yeah, Gary.
I just wanted to add on to that token producer Angel that you showed. Last night there was a Boros list that went turn 2 Voice of Victory, turn 3 war leader, giving all your tokens, and it's impact trimmers plus a anthem.
Yeah.
But then their turn 4 was an impact trimmers, warp the angel, swing, deal 4 damage for impact trimmers, 4 damage for the war leader helix, and then it produced 4 1/1 tokens that became 2/2s.
That's great.
Because it doubles the tokens on Voice of Victory. So
Yeah,
it was just
I had
busted.
that built. I had that aspect built into this Goblin deck here because the Goblin deck has got this shocking sharpshooter, so you can get a bunch of them in play with the Ruins and go wild. A little mini version, a little mobilized version, but yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely, Gary. But I agree with you. I think that the doubling aspect of the angel, it's surprising and it's easy to underestimate. We've seen it. Of course, we've done a fair amount of testing with the John Victoria's on. Oh, wonderful. Let's get John. I'll make you guys panelists in case John or Jeremy wants to say anything. You guys are always welcome. But anyway, I think that we saw it with the Planeswalker, with the white Planeswalker, the doubling effect with the tokens can really be vicious. So one of the things I want to do, Thierry crushed it this week. I myself got into the top 100s with the Bunny Bzka deck I showed you. So that's a really vicious deck. There was a version similar to it that I was playing with Merfolk that I went over. I think a lot of people had a fair amount of success. John Victoria, what's up, my friend? Great to have you on.
Great to see you, Mike. Great to see everyone.
Yeah, really, really glad to have you here. This is a great show. By the way, actually, having John on sparks something I wanted to say about Law of Implication that I wouldn't have necessarily gotten to otherwise. So one of the things that David has been talking about in his most recent series he's been focusing a lot on seeing without lenses at times. Not that we can always see without lenses, but if at certain times we say, hey man, right now I need to slow things down and figure things out. One of the things that's interesting about gaming, okay, is that gaming, it's much more, not always, sometimes you kind of run into gamer snobs and they'll kind of get really angry with you if you want to kind of analyze and try to like pick through things and figure out what the best exact build or the right way to do things is. Some people don't like that. But if you get with a group of guys and gals like we have right here, it's surprisingly easy in gaming to do some lensless thinking. And that's a lot of what we do on the Magic Secret show, is we get together and we try to look at these decks, try to pull them apart. Yes, we do celebrate our victories and say, yeah, out of the way, Bryn, back into the top 200. And by the way, Bryn did go back into the 200 today. So congratulations, Bryn. We do appreciate that, and that is very rousing. But we obtain that by doing a lot of math and by doing a lot of science and figuring out some apples to apples decisions that we need to make inside of this Law of Implication framework that we have, where we know the sections to focus, we know the parts to zoom in on, and we know the things to just not even worry about. We don't have to have lengthy show after show after show telling you how to do minute plays about this or that, or spaz out with decks either. We neither overly zoom in on one deck, nor do we spaz out and have a different deck every show with no continuity. Now, am I developing new things? Yes, I am, right? But developing them thoroughly from their roots. Today, I started really going deeper into thinking about indestructible, right? I mentioned that a little bit earlier. I'm going to get more into that. But right now, I'm really have a full head of steam trying to understand Druidith and Jackal. And by the way, there may be some coincidence with Druidith and Indestructible. Of course, it's going to be the first thing I'm going to check. Both, Druidith is green and Tyvar is green. So, and I mean creatures that are indestructible. I don't mean, just being able to cast Protect them and so forth, which is great. That's another great use of indestructible. And maybe I'll mix that, but I'm particularly interested in indestructible creatures. So anyways, having John on made me think about lensless thinking. And one of the things I'll say, David's working right now on some new content. I think everyone's going to be really excited about it. And one of the things he pointed out was that with Jesus and the scenarios that Jesus was in, very uniquely, what Jesus was doing was providing very lensless thinking, like about that scenario. So, some rabbis came in and they had a woman with them. They had a woman and rocks, right? They had a rock in one hand and a woman in the other hand, and the same woman. And they said this woman's been caught in adultery in the very act. Leviticus, says that we are, which is the Hebrew law. It says that such a person, you throw rocks at them until they're dead. That's what you do. What do you say? Right? They said that to Jesus, and Jesus didn't say, well, let's consider her family and friends. He didn't say let's think more about context or anything like that. He didn't say maybe she had a hard day. He didn't say Leviticus is wrong. I'm not saying it is or not. He just didn't happen to say that. He just said, well, first of all, he actually literally said nothing. Interestingly enough, he kneeled down and he drew in the sand. And then once they were prompted him again, then without even looking up and keeping his head down, he said, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Then, starting with the oldest down to the youngest, in that order, they dropped their rocks and wandered away. And then eventually Jesus looked up and said, woman, where are thine accusers? She said that they had left. He said, neither do I judge you, go sin no more. So that's what happened. This is a certain type of lensless thinking. It's very shocking. In the whole history of the world, that was a very shocking thing that happened that changed the course of how humans deal with each other. Not just in terms of adultery, which right now, there are people committing adultery right and left right now that are not getting stoned to death, which I applaud. I utterly applaud, by the way. It is the right thing to do. And I'm not saying adultery is great, neither did Jesus. At the time, really severe economic impact, and that's why it was in Leviticus. I'm not saying that's right. I know it's wrong, right? But I know it's not right by examining the certain lensless thinking, right? That Jesus put on display there, right? And then he does this again and again and again and again, right? We had a master. I don't even know the connection, by the way. I'm pulling this up completely fresh. I have not processed this scenario through the lensless thinking revelation that David just shared with me a couple of days ago. So a very, very popular one. This is all because John is just great with law of implication and stuff like that. Kind of really being in action. And everyone here is as well, but just whatever. For whatever reason, John just sparked that for me. So it's got health, by the way. I am, weird things about health. I'm the same weight I was in high school when I was in very good shape, and I eat McDonald's every single day, including, hopefully this time, usually including the Oreo McFlurry with extra Oreo every single day. And that's not the only thing I eat. I do intermittent fasting. So anyways, it just can be different than you think. What's that, Smitty?
Do they not feed you at Fuddruckers?
I know exactly. So things can be a little bit different than you expect. So there's another scenario, very popular, one with Jesus fans, and it should be. So some guys, a lord of the manor goes away. He leaves each of his stewards or whatever they are with a gold talent. And it turns out, Myron explained this to me, that a gold talent is an enormous amount of gold. Just so you guys know. Like an enormous amount, like a giant brick of it or something like that, like you see in the movies, like a big one. And then he left and he goes away, and then he comes back and he asks them to give an accounting of themselves, what they did with their gold brick, right? And the first one says, I went to the markets and I came back with 10 gold talents. And the Lord said to him, so this is, Jesus explained this scenario, right? You've been, great job. So I'm going to grant you authority over 10 cities, right? You've been very wise with this investment. I'm going to give you authority over 10 cities. Likewise, the second guy went off and traded, and he's got 5 gold talents now instead of 1. So the Lord gives him authority over 5 cities. The third one said, Lord, I knew you're an austere master, and I feared you. So I buried it, I hid it in the backyard. Here it is. I brought it for you, the gold talent. So what does he say, right? And this is where this mastery comes from Jesus when he's commenting on things or when he's answering questions. Is this like what he's thinking? So what the master says is, you've been wicked, and he snatches the gold coin. He says, he said, you knew I was an austere master, and I would expect my usury, which means I would expect interest. And so he says, what little is that you have will be taken from you. And he gives that gold talent from that with the one gold talent from the guy who didn't do anything to the guy with 10 gold talents. And he says, he who hath little, that little shall be taken from you, and shall be added to the one who has. So look, you can't just sit around, right? You can't test nothing. You can't do nothing. It's not on. And he says this, and you can't hear it. You know it's true. You know that people who do small projects kick ass like John, Victoria, you're great at SEO now. You make a lot of money. I bet you built a city SEO site when you started, did you? Yeah. Okay. Duh.
Yeah.
And I knew it. And was it incredibly helpful at every step of the way from there, because you would become your own client, just like David said in Alchemy, right? And so you took that gold talent and you saw that, like, can you explain like what that was like?
Yeah, I mean, so that was the first thing, that was my first building block to build confidence in wanting to even go after starting an agency. I think I ranked for Alexandria SEO expert.
Beautiful, beautiful. Just Alexandria, just this small city in Northern Virginia. Exactly.
And at the time I was still in the Navy, and so I was considering whether or not I should make the leap. And when I actually ranked a site, Alexandria SEO expert on page 1 of Google, like that gave me my first building block to begin going out, going to events, shaking hands with people and saying, hey, look at what I did.
Now you had something to show people. Now you're not just networking like, oh, hey, I'm this guy who's just walking around kicking the tires, thinking about whether I want to do this. Or I'm someone who's in the field with nothing to say. I'm someone in the field with nothing to share. I'm just here to talk about the football game and drink another beer, right? And not really add to things, okay? Instead, you had something to trade with, to build on, to wow people. You pull out your cell phone and be like, boom, you can do it on your phone. Boom, they can just see it. Oh, who am I? Well, let's build that together. Oh, wait a second. Who am I? Let's build who I am in your experience. John, and since then, I mean, I've seen you on TV now. I mean, since then, you have rolled that and rolled that and rolled that, and you continue to do the same type thing. Now you do it a lot with, almost exclusively with Thierry, which is awesome, and working with other people where you can in smart ways, smart integrations. But you're always walking in with a loaded deck, with a loaded gun, and it changes everything. This is a lensless type of thinking, right? The typical person would say, go in, dressed up, be fun, be the life of the party, listen. Some people would say, build first, then go in, right? This is a lensless type of thinking. So and again, we're trying to do this with this game. I'm trying to say, hey, what if for the next several years, we think, wow, remember what it was like before Dreamers / Jackal, right? And I don't know, but I'm humble to it. Do you see? And I'm not humble to it on another card that's just another card, right? If that makes sense. A card, like there's hundreds of cards that will get printed that I'm not going to apply the same rigor to. We do not have the resources to do it the way I'm saying. That's why this is such a great episode for me to show you me jamming this card into any freaking deck possible. I mean, I was literally thinking, can I do it with red black? Right? Can I do a lizard deck that splashes dreams? Can I? Probably not. I'll stretch my mind. Maybe if the lands change up, I don't know. But I at least considered it, and I did it with goblins in it completely. And this was all I was testing all of this in the top 1,000 on Mythic. So you know, I'm not doing this on nothing or testing it on nothing. Lawrence, by the way, brought up this build, so let me pull it up. And this is why, of course, I built this was because I thought that you would copy Cecil, which is just absurd. Can you imagine turn 1, let World, turn 2? How about I get 2 Cecils? And then if they flip, I think you keep both of them. I bet you keep both of them if they flip. We'll find out when somebody flips. I'm not saying this is the best build, but I tried it. And I tried it because it's a unique type card that lets us zoom in, focus in, and really understand what's all that we can get on this card. How do we build that? What anyone can say, think outside of the box. What a useless thing to say. When do I think outside of the box? Right? When do I go for it? And when sometimes the box is great, guys. There's tons of things that are in the box that we just keep in the box. We just got to figure out when we need to expand. Okay, so I actually wanted to share the screen, change the screen, and share it with Bryn and have him go through some great science that he's got prepared for us from the top 200 right now as we speak. Bryn, does that work for you?
Yeah.
Great. Let me find the attendees, staff. Let me go here to Bryn. All right, Bryn, I'm going to make you present it. You should get a notification.
Yep.
Great. All right, go through the science. Open up.
Let's see. Which screen are you seeing right now?
We're seeing a screen capture on Snagit.
Yeah, perfect.
Win percentage.
Perfect. Okay, so this was the deck that Mike designed. Where let's see if I can show it here. Do you see Magic now or Arena or?
Yes. Yeah, we see
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So basically, this deck.
I love this deck, by the way. Love this deck. So much fun. And you got the top 100 with a very similar deck. And this is part of what I want people to do is have some specializations on this show where it just helps. It helps a lot. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So this deck is a crossover between a deck that Smitty really liked and another deck that I really liked, and it's kind of like a crossover. I enjoy the deck because it has a lot of disruption. So I don't like when an opponent plays.
One second. This deck is about understanding how crazy the armor is. Can you highlight the armor?
Yep.
And hover over it. This is the card that this deck is really about because it's just so freaking crazy that you can just do so much. And of course, it's also about the whole Tiny Bones join that pixie thing, or whatever she's called, the other pixie. But this card is the card that kind of stopped everything because it can just do so much damage. And the first strike just makes it so unfair. And the cost of it is so unfair. I mean, just sometimes you cast 2 or 3 of these in one turn and just blow out how you like me now. Go ahead, Brent.
Yeah, and it's unexpected. So there are times where I put this on turn 3 or turn 4 where you have a couple of enchantments, right? So let's say you play turn 1 Tiny Bones, you play a turn 2 Momentum Breaker, let's say against a green deck. So if they play Tifa or something, you remove it. You take a Nurturing Pixie or an Optimistic Scavenger, and then you have like a couple of enchantments there. You put the Thierry Armor, great combination. Can show some results. I'm using this, it's basically a MTG Assistant. I came across it like some time ago. Basically have it on when I'm playing. And then here are some basically screen captures of this deck in action. So you have against Mono Green, which is basically the landfall deck that a bunch of us got the Mythic with last month. It's no issue. You just either like remove the creatures, but for sure, if you have a choice, remove the creatures that can double. So it's like Mossborn and Tifa. They also have like a bunch of 1-mana creatures that kind of like get a +1/+1, so it's like a little bit less dangerous. And then also what I like to remove is the 3-mana, the Chocobo, I believe, Traveling Chocobo that basically doubles the counters. So I like to remove those.
Chocobo, yeah.
Yeah, right. Because something I noticed, especially since David talked about substitutions, was if I let a substitution run amok. So if I'm like, and Mike mentioned this last time, where it's like, oh, it's fine, let him, have that card for another turn or two. Yeah, it doesn't end up well. Against the and we're like 5-0 against mono green. Then there's like the life gain deck. It's either like mono white or like maybe splash with a little bit black. I'm not sure if I have it in here, the mono white version. But basically against the mono white, they have a bunch of like smallish life gain creatures like the hinterland bunnies, and those they basically gain life, but they're not really like a threat against a specific deck. So what I try to take away is they have like the Ajani Pridemate that grows. They have the Essence Channeler that grows, and they have maybe 1 or 2 Angels that grow whenever they gain life. So those I try to take away, and then basically they just end up with like a bunch of life gain, but it's not really a big deal. I was playing another deck where I had a bunch of trouble against the red-white Boros Burn that Gary and Michael were playing. I think with another deck I won like 3 games, lost like 20. I was like, this needs a solution. Then Mike came with his deck. I was like, okay. So here you see against the is it in this screenshot, or is it in this, or is it here against the red-white? You see it's like 66, like 6 and 3. Against the red-white, what I take for sure is the Screaming Nemesis. If we don't take the Screaming Nemesis and they burn it, then like they take away like our board changing state, like the life gain stuff. I think that's pretty bad. And then I think so you see here in the bottom, most of the games I lose, and it's probably because I don't have them represented, right? Like I don't really know like what they're trying to do. Is like a bunch of the 3 and 4 color combos, but otherwise against you see this here, right? Against the 1, 2, and some of the 3 ones, especially with green in them, it's not really an issue. So yeah, so it's been a great deck, and I'm enjoying it much.
A lot more trouble with red than I expected. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, in my experience, like if I don't have a hand that can deal with them pretty quickly, it's gonna be an issue. So I either like I need the life gain, and I need the so it could either be like the what's the Sheltered by Ghosts.
Probably 4 Cecils. Probably 4 Cecils main deck.
Yeah, maybe 4 Cecils. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice, probably somewhere around.
I think you're gonna have to. I think that the lands are they're too slow. I know they're really powerful. It's crazy because you can totally win a game with them. What are they called? The Enduring Innocences.
Yeah.
Like, cause I played that deck a lot, and it's a really good deck. And it's weird because sometimes you really just take over the game with Enduring Innocence, but
Yeah.
somehow I just have the sneaky suspicion that they're just too slow. Smitty brought up, and it's probably what you need to test. Why don't you try a new version and just go with just drop the Enduring Innocence altogether and go with the Angels, like Smitty was saying, the Inquisitors, and play like 3 or 4 Cecils, and then the rest Inquisitors. You know, like say 4 Cecils, 2 Inquisitors, or 3 and 3. Because Gary, you mostly, if you play Cecil and they don't deal with it, doesn't red mostly lose, or what happens? You know a lot better.
So based on my old build where we took out the shocks, we originally had Bolt Wave.
And you're talking
What
about
happened
Boros,
was
so it's
what but what happened is normally in the beginning when people were using like Demir midrange, when they were using Cecil, they were like aggressive with it, and then I would just hold out and wait for them to get low enough. Like obviously I would, if they play Decavern Bat, then I'm gonna have to like kill it on the spot so I can keep my hand. But like we you have to be patient. Sometimes they say red players are impulsive and they're aggressive and stuff, but it's like to be a real good red player, you have to know your lines of play, and that's what makes the good red players and the great red players. And I mean, I used Bomat Courier during Kaladesh where I had like 4 cards underneath it, and my opponent's at 2, and he's got like Scarab God where he's about to gain a crap load of life. If I let him reanimate Scarab God, I'm just gonna lose. So I had to take the risk of sacrificing Bomat Courier, and the shock was underneath it to kill him. You know, you swing with Bomat Courier, let the card exile, and then sack it before damage is dealt. So then the life gain's not done, and then you shock for the win. And my opponent was really upset. 'Cause he had to step away from the table because it's like he knows he has me on the crackback with it was the black enchantment from Exelon that lets you sacrifice a creature, you know, you gain toughness, and he would just sacrifice Scarab God and then rebring it back all the time. And it's like if I didn't have that play, I would if I didn't sacrifice Bomat Courier, I was dead on board.
Right.
And that was game 3, and I think that was like top 4. So
Right.
the stakes were high.
Right. Right. So you're constantly making this decision, like do I burn this or not? These days, the red people are just going to play the Cecil and just make your life miserable with it.
Right. What I do like about the Cecil is I was
Because
rereading it.
It's going to
I
sit there
was
waiting
I
for
was
you to do
rereading
nothing.
Cecil.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
Right.
But I was rereading Cecil, and like I know in our playtesting, I don't know if it's came up, but it's one of the few guys that doesn't exile and transform. It just says transform it. So I want to know, we might have to do this in playtesting, is if you transform the token, is Cecil a transform copy of the token? You know, it's not an exile like Joshua or other flip cards. This one just says transform him. So there's a shot that he gets that token that we produce with Drana gets to stay on the board transformed, which is going to be
Right.
even more insane. But
Right.
I don't know
Which
if
I
we've
think
gotten
I
that
think
far
it probably
into
does.
testing.
Yeah,
I don't know
I'm
if we
pretty
got that
sure
far
it
in
does.
testing.
I'm pretty sure it does. It keeps the counters once it flips, so it doesn't change states if that's related to what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what's great though. It's a token though too, so it's like you were saying. Like I think Lawrence was saying, I got to keep both, both Cecils because it's non-legendary, and I learned that about when someone played Hydro Man with Drana. So then they were getting an extra mana, so they like ramped themselves on our turn, and then they have 2 bodies on their turn, and that was a couple weeks ago.
Right. So the point is that Cecil is going to be like much more disruptive against those type of decks. So maybe 3 Cecils and 3 whatever they are, Inquisitors to start, and we'll see. Let me look at your other sketchy matchups. The other
Let's
weak
see.
matchups.
These ones, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
How do you do against Have Arrow / Superior Spider-Man?
It kind of depends if they hit or miss. Like if they're like a turn 4, then it's pretty tough. But I've also seen, like you mentioned in the group, where they could really miss. Like I've had like turn 7, 8, or whatever, and they kind of miss still.
Yeah, I've had some games where I was dead on turn 4 or 5, and they just didn't get there.
Yeah.
But I think it's so. While we're talking about this deck that you played so well up to the heights of Mythic, one thing I was tooling around with in that deck was Corpses of the Lost. Now at 18 lands, it's probably a little too rich, but it performed really well. So when I put the Lightstall in, I put in the Corpses.
What's the spell you're talking about, Smitty?
I'm sorry, sir?
What's the spell you're talking about?
Corpses of the Lost. It's the skeleton enchantment you like.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, it's a little rich at 3 mana, running 18 lands, but I went with 2 of them.
And were you playing any other skeletons?
Sorry, say again?
Were you playing any other skeletons?
No. No, I'm just bouncing that guy and giving him haste and making him big. And also the Lightstall Inquisitor, So like you remember the days when the only creature enchants you ever played were Imperial Armor and Armadillo Cloak. So it's funny how far Ethereal Armor, like the meta has come.
Oh yeah.
Like the Lightstall is also vigilant, so he can just be like, boom. When he wears the armor, he's a beast. So anyways, sorry to interrupt.
That's a great point. Hey, Smitty, you know that there's a 2-cost enchantment that makes a skeleton.
Yes, I remember there's another skeleton enchantment.
Yeah, Kate, would you want that over the most helpful weaver?
I don't know. Dial it up, maybe.
Yeah. So when you look at that deck again, and you may have these on your account, like if you have the Corpse of the Lost, you probably have cases of the Sad Skeleton. Then check that and just check and see if it's better than Helpful Weaver in that version.
Yeah, I think the 2/2 haste guy, and sorry, he comes in as a 3/2 haste guy. Is part of what I love about it, but it's definitely worth looking at.
Yeah, great. Okay, awesome, Smitty. Thank you. Yeah, I always really like to have that from Smitty. It always makes kind of a 9-day difference for me. The first thing I check on is to see if Smitty's on the show. Okay, I'm going to discard the changes now.
Good.
Yeah, definitely, Smitty, if you can either on my, we'll get that tested, kind of a more scalable version. Okay, All right, there's one more thing I wanted to do. We haven't played in a long time on the show. And I do have some sort of a reasonable rating. Let's see what my profile is, at least 97 or something like that, 96. Okay, so I shouldn't get too fruity of an opponent. So let's play a little bit, at least one game with Zebu Skeleton, or Zebu. Oh, so Zebu, man, I love me some Zebu. Sometime I'll tell the story of Zebu. And I learned a lot from it, but it's this great Zebu unicorn. And I remember when I told David that they had printed Zebu. What in the world? You almost keep it, right? All right. Let's just fine.
Oh, we can't see your
I
screen.
can't like overly analyze when we're on the show. So I may make some horrible choices, but this also might be pretty funny. Oh, this is about, I assume this is about matchup. Okay, let's see. No.
Like you can't see your screen?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Change that up.
You have to change presenter to you, Mike.
Okay, sharing. Yeah, make myself presenter. Show my screen.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. All right. So you saw the crazy hand that I kept. I had not drawn the second land yet. So I kept the one lander, drew a second land, but it's a pretty crazy hand. Obviously, I'm going to play Drunith. Let's see what I get here. Elf. We don't want that, right? Or do we? Quick peanut gallery. We don't, right?
It's probably not. I'm not sure I've get to that far, but
Okay.
at the bottom, but should be fine.
Yeah, let's just not. Maybe it's wrong. We do have a bunch of Drunith, so maybe somehow it's good. But okay, so next round, next turn Drunith. And I'll just hopefully get the white mana for Giada, but obviously we have a bunch of it. This card is kind of death for you. If they have this, it becomes really hard to win. But let's try to find our way out of it anyways. Blue. Pay 2 life. We have another 1-drop now. Definitely no attack, probably. Maybe attack. We need this guy to die, but he's going to kill us too.
I think you just attack because.
Yeah, right. Okay. So next turn we cast Scout and hopefully another Drunith. Should be able to get 3. We get 3 chances of the land. Has to be a green land. Yeah, we're in such trouble with this, with what he has in play. You got a fairly ideal draw. Oh, we did get the land. Okay, so we will cast Scout. Wait. Do we
I
want
was
to
gonna
double
say,
Inquisitor?
I was almost like saying playing starting town for the angel, because doesn't the angel do like rip his hand?
Yeah, it's probably gonna rip his hand. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do it Gary's way.
If you're wondering if Gary's
It's just a suggestion.
That is pretty vicious.
Because now it's 2 cards out of his hand, or at least that's going to cost more mana. Unless he
What do we
puts
get?
out lands, we might rip
Concealed
out 2
Guard.
lands.
What's the other one? Skeleton. Okay. And then we cast this guy. Yes. Okay. So we're gonna keep the small one, definitely. Don't keep the big one.
And then you get to play the scout next turn and make like 4 copies of scout
Yeah.
or 3.
We'll get 4 scouts, and then we will cast Giada, which is really what's exciting. Like that's what's really exciting. Because it's gonna be crazy. Watch what happens. We still might win this game. And this is what this deck does. I'm showing you guys. It turns the corner like, and nothing I've ever seen. We double block this guy, obviously, right? With the Inquisitors that we don't care about.
Mhm.
And he doesn't even get this guy back from the graveyard when he does his thing. Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, we're gonna hit it pretty hard next turn. See what he's got. If he's got the return from the graveyard thing, obviously, it could be tough. But he doesn't get this guy back. What's in his graveyard right now? It's hard for me to see what the go-to weapon are.
It looks like he's trying to get the miner back. I don't know if he got it or not. I don't think he did.
Yeah, I think he's about to have a rude awakening. He's like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Now, it is a bummer that we lost. I shouldn't have blocked with one of the Inquisitors. I should have blocked with the Scout. That was a fairly major mistake. Oh, he's going to kill 1 Drunith? Okay. Kill 1 Drunith. Oh my goodness. Beautiful. No.
You just rip his hand again?
I think so.
And then,
Yeah,
and then
might
you,
do this again.
I was going to say, I almost was like, rip his hand again and then play the other Drunith. And then now you're making 3 copies of Drunith.
Yeah. Yeah, let's make Drunith. Oh, I see. I'm not going to be able to do both. No, I am. I have the bunny coming up. Are we going to go to 5 life, 4 life? All right, sure. Let's go. Oh my gosh, they all stayed. That's so funny.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was like, if you would have done the angel, I think he had what 2 last spells in his hand.
Yeah.
We would have got the information.
But he's got the But we want this. It's also nice casting Inquisitor after we cast Giada, because then we get.
You're still going to get a crap load of those angels, right? Because the new Draenith tokens.
Oh, I see. No, because I'm going to cast Paw Patch. Well, anyways, I did that.
I don't see Paw Patch on your screen. I'm sorry.
Oh, he's the top part of my deck. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, that way I don't have to do it over 2 turns.
No, I like the Paw Patch. You're right.
Why is he attacking?
Because you're at 4 and he's trying to be lethal.
I guess. Maybe he's just giving up. Or he's going to bring them all back. What's in there? There's not that much in the graveyard. Doesn't get that much back. Oh, he mills a bunch? Is that what he's doing? All right. I think we're going to win. Okay. So I'm going to Paw Patch without Now, if I copy this pop patch, by the way, I'll get a million pop patches. But I think we're still better off casting Giada. But if I offspring it would be pretty funny.
Do you offspring to make sure you have blockers towards all the menace because you're only at 4 life?
No, I'll be fine.
Okay.
Watch this. Watch Giada. This is going to be hilarious.
You're making a
what
crap
do we-
load of copies of Gian, right? Like,
yeah.
yeah, there's going to be a crap
There's
load
one
of them.
that's a 6/6.
Nice.
Oh my god. Can I attack him a little bit or should I be really conservative? He has 2 menace guys. 4. And we have a lot of blockers. He's at
You could attack
25.
with the
I think
three.
I'm bring him down a little bit.
I probably need to attack it a bit.
Don't give him any. Let's attack 3/3/3s.
Yeah, I feel like you can attack with the tramplers.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, remember Druid's tramples. I always feel like that's so unfair.
Mhm.
Oh, the fact that Jackal's got trample.
Yeah. So we're really punishing right now. Anything he does gives 3 counters. If he targets any of our creatures,
Cast.
we're 3. Good.
Don't-
Smitty?
Don't cast Vengeful Witch.
Don't do what?
I just don't want him to cast Vengeful Witch.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I also don't want him to cast the a Sephiroth with the 3/2 that has the surveil.
Umbral, yeah. Either one, none
Yeah.
of would be good. Please don't do
Yeah.
that.
No, I know. It's like it's
What did he do
like
that? Why did he do that? Is he gonna bring his guys
He-
back in? Oh,
no, he's
yeah.
pumping up counters on what's her name. So when
To
she
do what?
dies, so
What's he planning on doing? Oh, he's gonna hit the 6/6 angel? So what? I'm gonna get 3 counters.
I don't think he knows that. Like now your angel force is gonna be like all pumped up with the counters.
Yeah, it didn't do much for him. All right, can we just kill him? Can we swing for lethal? Just cast a Lightfall Inquisitor. Does that help us? Doesn't really, right?
It just rips his last card out of his hand.
Or 8. Do we have lethal? You can block 2 guys. So you can block.
Now remember, the
2
miner
guys.
can't block, so miner's not
Right.
blocking.
So he can stop this guy and this guy. He can stop 5 damage. We have 3.
I'm pretty sure you
6,
kill
7, 8.
Yeah, I think we have lethal. Not sure.
Yeah, we got lethal. I'm swinging with everything.
Yeah, you have lethal.
So sweet.
So much trample and flying. So much trample and flying.
Exactly. This deck has such a surprising amount of trample. That's what I noticed. Of course, it's got the flying because we got the angels. But what did you see how the deck turns the corner in its weirdest ways?
Yeah, for sure.
You're playing the 2-drop angel as well, right? The youthful,
Yeah.
the youthful one. So then that 2/1 Valkyrie actually, or the 2/1 angel wizard also pumps it up.
And the way I figured that out was by testing with the frog and seeing how
Yeah.
effective the frog was. The trample frog. Yeah, I thought that was really instructive. I don't want to get us to get so far away from actually playing games of Magic that we never play them on the show. It is limited to play them on the show, and last time we played, it's got my ass kicked. But then the next week, Thierry was like ranked number 13. So that's what you get. Let me get some comments about what we just saw. We'll go around the room. Let's start with Lawrence. Lawrence today.
Druid is a ton of fun. I like the idea of the Inquisitor, especially once you double up on Druid, then you can just rip out their whole hand. That's really dope. I haven't played much with Angels, but I like the idea of having Flyers, especially against the Flyers. At least something to potentially defend against that, but also just on top of the trample.
That really electrified you. You just got excited. I was trying to explain to myself. I was like, I messaged the group last night and I said, Bryn, thanks for hanging on. This is really going to be a great deck for you. But yeah, it's really an energizing deck, and it's so strange because there's so few angels in it. Actually, there's only the the 12 that cost 1 or 2, and then just 4 more for the warped angels, but it really works out well that way. Gary, let's get your reaction on the day. Is there anything you want to talk about? Gary might have gotten pulled away. Okay, let's hear from Bryn, your reaction on the day.
Yeah, something that you mentioned about David seeing how to basically go for like, there's like, in a certain way, 1 premise or like 3 premises, like 3 starting hands. Either like go for the card you need or like, go for semi-soft left towards that, etc. That amount of ruthlessness, I do it sometimes, but not always. So like, I see that it's a substitution where sometimes I'm like, it's fine, it's fine. But actually,
and sometimes it is fine, but sometimes it's not, and you got to stuff out. Like, you have to kind of figure out what the boundaries are, when to do it, and games are a great time to be doing that, and then it bleeds over to your business very positively and very powerfully.
Yeah.
Great, and thank you for the science, by the way, Brent. Not just congratulations on that, but thank you for bringing that science over to us, helping us see the matchups, and it riches things up, and we see that there's a crossover between the decks. It's really great. Thierry, let's hear from you today.
Sure. I sent the deck you played, Brent, to John, actually, because I noticed the win rate last week, 80%, 90%.
Yeah.
That's the kind of win rate I like, by the way.
I love it. That's the kind of win rate you like.
But yeah, I didn't mention anything last week about that. I was like, okay, that deck is there's something to it. So I did try it. Yeah, it was good. Very easy to play. I started to John, which John just started playing, right?
Yeah.
A week ago, actually. So I'm not sure if he's tried it yet, but anyways, I just wanted to mention that because I know there was something up with that match. Oh, and by the way, they put you against the number 1 in Platinum. I tried to notice that too. There's something up with that, right? If you're in the Platinum and they're like, okay, that guy's winning enough that he should probably go against the top 1 Mythic. That means your hidden match MMR, like matchmaker rating, is like very high, right? At that point. Well, that's what it means. Like, because there's a hidden MMR behind the scenes. Like, they try to compare you against like the people they think you're at your level. So they thought you were at least the top, I don't know, top 2, top X, right? When they did that, so I was like, okay, so something's going on.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and then Junette/Jackal, obviously, like I said last week. I mean, that card seems pretty powerful, I thought you said at this point. It might even be played in older formats, like I said. I don't play much more other than standard, but I try to notice cards that are strong enough to like be played in modern or even legacy or something. I'm pretty sure that card is gonna.
We'll get out there. We're not going to have such. I'd like to point out. I talked to David about this. Mm-hmm. So let me talk a little further about this. We've got a show. It's such a beautiful show today. I will have to cut it a little bit short at this point because I've got Michael Spears coming visiting right now. You guys should circle Orlando on the map. So David and I are starting a store out here with Smitty, and it's going to be very powerful. It's going to be OMG and a store, a game store. Think 1 million gamers, right? OMG stands for 1 million gamers. Stacked in the same location. And there'll be some more stacking that'll go on. It won't just be Magic, it'll be other games. It won't just be internet marketing and the OMG style stuff we go over SEO. It'll be a little bit more expansive. Billy Valentino is 25 years, Conan O'Brien's director, is actually moving to Orlando from Los Angeles because of the store, and he wants to be near it. He wants to be teaching film classes at the store on directing and so forth. There's a real tipping point. We've often thought of having a specific place that OMGers could go to be OMGers, how special and different that would be from anything that's ever existed. For any mastermind, it's a place where at any time you can just go and be an OMGer right there in person. Again, being an OMGer now, being more than just one-man gang, but now we've got 1 million gamers on top of that. So it's going to be a very special environment. We expect most people will make the pilgrimage out at least once, twice, 3, 4 times a year. A lot of people will be buying homes here and making this their permanent residence. It's an unbelievable travel hub. You can get flights to LA for $50 direct. from Orlando Airport and all over America, all over the world, because they subsidize flights coming into Disney. We're going to make a particular stand. It is going to be a Law of Implication store. It's going to be about Law of Implication. It's going to be about the breakthroughs that we have available and enjoying those breakthroughs amongst brothers and sisters and friends. In a wonderful providential environment. I've long said that OMG is a city on a hill, a place where friends come together in Providence. This will be a real place where friends come together in Providence, and it is a certain type of final stand that David and I are making to kind of do everything that we've all wanted in the world. Making it a kind of reasonably for-profit business allows us to grow in a certain way. But it's going to be utterly bounded, and it's basically, we just can't think of a better way to spread Law of Implication. And if you think about it, there's a better way. So it's going to be very powerful. OMG 2026 will be very much running through what we're doing with it, and right now we're in the preparation stages. It doesn't matter how long it takes us to put together the store, but it will be magnificent, and it's happening. Including people are welcome to come to Orlando now to help it happen. We just come and take a look and drive around and see what it's like here. It's an amazing place. They have all the theme parks here, and you can drive to anywhere, and yet you're really insulated from the hurricanes and such like that. Where you can get it, but it's very unlikely. It's more inconvenient here than super desert. In the main so far, for the last several hundred years or so forth. Not that that's everything, but that's what we got. Okay, so great science on the show. I do want to round out with final comments. We had a great talk from John, so I don't know how much John is going to have more to say about things. So let me lead things off with Smitty. Smitty, what are your final notes?
Well, one thing I'd like to note that not everybody probably knows is, well, they probably know from that group chat, is Gary is an exceptionally good player, and he's willing to do whatever to test out whatever, and so he helped me out with that the other night, so I just wanted to give him a shout out for that.
Nice. Gary really stood out.
Sorry to blow up the chat. We weren't paying attention to, we were just blabbing. But yeah,
but Smitty, I went out to that Orlando event. There were a lot of good things that happened there, but the best thing that happened there was bringing Gary into our world, and we've all been really happy having you.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like a great human, but also a great asset to the group as well.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Smitty.
That's all I got.
Great way to end things off. John or Jeremy, did you guys have anything you want to say?
No, I'm just learning here, trying to figure out the game. I'm brand new to this.
Yeah,
I'm started decks.
I'm actually going to try to create some actual training stuff for brand new people with Michael. I'm going to try to make that happen because I have you in mind for that as well.
Nice.
Haven't forgotten about anything with you, Gary. Great. Okay, great show, guys. One of my absolute all-time favorites. Gary got kicked off. Let me make Gary a panelist. Gary, of course, should have the opportunity to respond to what the terrific sentiment that Smitty shared and that I shared with how happy we are to have him here. Gary, I guess you'll get the final.
Hey, like I said, I can't believe we're already in episode 7, man. It's been great, being part of the show. And, it all started with, hey, man, do you have an annul? Like, that's like going to be like the best memory right there. It's like, it just started from there. So, I appreciate it bringing me on, guys. And to go back onto the decks, the last 2 weeks, like, our deck brewing it's just been insane. And same thing with our play testing too. Like I said,
you're really in the Magic world, and you know that this is the Area 51. Is that true?
I mean, I've been around the game, since like '98, but I didn't really take it serious until I was in the Army, because the Army allowed me to travel. So for instance, this weekend is going to be last weekend was Singapore. for that one company that does tournaments in Southeast Asia, and then this weekend's Indonesia. So I actually sent a fan of yours from Indonesia. I sent 2 of your decks to see if he would try one of them for this weekend in Indonesia. So I'm excited because he runs a store out in Indonesia, but he's going to be playing in
That's a
Singapore.
special aspect that Gary has. Gary has such a passion, and he's connected with so many different people. And we're going to be very much involved with Japan and the rest of Asia in Magic through our store. And through the Magic Secrets podcast. The Magic Secrets podcast will be available to other stores, and it will be available for other stores to participate and sing along with us. That's great. Please continue, Gary.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like, I'm less than a month from going back out to Japan. My daughter's excited. I was able to pick up some of those Spider-Man welcome decks, so I'm going to see how my daughter takes into Magic. She's 11, so and she's to a point where now I can kind of like teach her because she's learning English and Japanese at the same time, and I have to speak fluent Indonesian with her for this whole entire time, but now she's learning English in school. So
Wonderful. We were just watching a video, like a travel vlog of a guy who kind of goes into people's lives, and I was watching one where a guy was with a Japanese woman raising her daughter as well, and it made me think of you, Gary. That's great. I look forward to meeting her and seeing whatever her interests and passions are blossom. We'll also be getting into with the game store. We'll also be getting into other stuff. I think I mentioned another game. I actually think I'm going to start with Dota 2. Have any of you guys played Dota 2 yet? I'm hoping one of you has. Anybody?
I actually lived with so like right as soon as I got out of the army, a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, I know you need a room. Do you want to move into this house with us?" So I actually like lived with Team Leviathan while they were doing really. No, I lived with Team Leviathan in 2015, 2016 at the time with Dota 2. And it's so funny because it's like I didn't know the game.
With any of those guys, or kind of long gone?
I could probably get a hold of a few of those guys because I knew the manager. So their manager is who brought me into the house while I was going to college. And it was just so funny. Is like I have like.
And do you know how to play the game confidently?
I don't know how to play the game. I've watched the game, so I've like watched them, But the big thing is like there's a new game coming out that's
show, weirdly enough, where we kind of just really briefly report on Magic for a little while, and then play it, do an episode, and I can teach you guys some stuff about Dota. I'd really like us to have another game. Michael was on the group, and he was expressing some frustration at some point. Sometimes you need a different game. Sometimes it's good to change things up.
right.
And Dota is something that we can play together in a way that's really, really cool. We can play as many as 5 together at a time on the same side, working together for a shared goal, and that can be a lot of fun. So I'm gonna look to make that happen as early as next week. So I'll talk to you guys more about that. That helps.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just how big my world is, though. It's like if you know me, I know a guy that knows that. It's like I got the guy in the pocket kind of thing. But that's just that's just my life experience of traveling so far.
You invested in life, and you're very good at it. We always Smitty's that way as well, and it's something I really, really treasure about him.
I'm big in Japan, y'all. I tower over the.
Greatness. What a special episode. I'm so appreciative of this episode. I'm so appreciative of all of you. Let me just do one thing to test things. I need to make sure if this webinar is, I wonder if I need to manage this webinar at all and add any more episodes. Meets 12 times. Okay, I have it through November 19th. All right, great. I'll probably need to add some more episodes at another point. Okay, great job, everyone. Great, just tremendous episode. Really one of my favorites. We will be back with more science soon, and one of the things we're going to be doing is expanding to more games and even sports. I have thoughts. I really don't see why the NFL couldn't use a competitor, for example. A lot of football players out there could use help too. And there's other stuff we can do. There's just fun stuff that really people want to find out about and want to be good at it. You know, law of implication is the way to do it. And that's what David and I are about. All right, God bless you guys. Really, really appreciate you. One of the big highlights of my week. Long episode today, but a good one. God bless. See you next time.
Thanks again, guys. Later.